Hello, welcome back. So we are finally in a new section, and in this section I actually want to make it project based, where we are going to be learning the features as we model a valve. So to start, let's open our file and new part and click OK. So let's change the scale to millimeters, metric. So you go to your option, document properties, unit, metric, and click OK. And now the subject we are going to be covering in this lecture is the revolve bus over here. So to start, let's pick the right plane and sketch. And now let's draw a sketch on it. Let's draw a line from here down. Now draw another line this way and coming down. Now let's make this line a construction line, and let's make this 38 millimeters. Good. So the next thing we need to do is draw our circle. Starting here, draw the circle out. So I'm actually using a center circle, by the way. So once you draw it out, click on this circle, hold the control key and click this point and click coincident. So now that point and that line is coincident. So the next thing we need to do is draw another line at the end point of this line, something like that. Now make this line and this circle tangent to each other. So you should get something like this. Good. So what we need to do is start trimming. Go into the trim tool, and I'm using the trim to closest. So I'm going to trim this off. Let me zoom in so you see, trim that off and trim this off, so I get something like that. Good. So we need to add a dimension to this. Let's make it 20. The angle between this line and that is 20, and let's make this a 26.5, the radius 26.5. Now you can see that our sketch is fully defined. In order to be able to revolve in SolidWorks, we are going to be revolving this 360. So when you are revolving any item 360, all you need is half of that item. You don't need to draw the whole thing, you just need half of it. As you can see, this is actually a 38 diameter, but we actually drew half of the 38, which if I dimension this should be 19. So as you can see, that's 19. So I'm gonna delete that. And now let's draw a line here. And another thing you need to keep in mind is, before you can revolve, your sketch must be closed, meaning you need to have all this sketch all around. The construction line is just something we use. Like I said, you can use it to aid your sketch. I used the construction line to get the 38 diameter. And in case if you were wondering also how I got the 38, let me delete the 38. If I press my dimension, smart dimension, and I dimension from this point to that point, it will only give me 19, which is the radius, and that is right. But if you want to do the diameter, you can select that point and you dimension it to a center line. Anytime you dimension any line or point to a center line, it would give you the diameter instead of the radius. So I just like drawing this way, but you can do it anyhow you want. You can dimension it as a radius, it's still the same. So now let's make sure our sketch is closed by adding another solid line. So once you have something like this, all you need to do is go into your feature, revolve, and now you want to pick that center line because we are revolving it about this line. So that line, let me delete that line. You see how I revolve? So it's asking what do we want to revolve about. Select that line. Now it's revolving and 360 degrees, and that's all you need to know. If you were revolving it any other degrees, maybe 180, you type in 180, and that is how you do the revolve, and you press OK, and there you go. So we've made our first part of the valve. Thank you, and I will see you in the next lecture. Bye. Hello, welcome back. So in this lecture we are going to be learning the extrude boss feature right here. So one thing I forgot to mention in the last lecture is the next lecture is going to be building on the previous lecture because we are modeling this valve body. So please save your files as you go in some project folder on your computer, and you can name it what you want. I have named this body the check body. This model we are currently working on, I've named it the check body, and I've saved it somewhere on my computer, my desktop, in the check valve folder. So please save your work as we go. So once you've done that, so let's continue. So on the right plane of this valve, we are on the right plane, so you want to click on the front plane of this valve. You want to click sketch and go normal 2. So now we want to draw a circle from this line, and as you can see, everything I'm constructing it from the origin point. Like I said, it's easier to construct everything from the origin point because it makes your sketch and your model fully defined. So we're going to give this a 38 diameter, something like that. So now we are going to go back in the feature and extrude. So there are different type of extrude. This extrude is extrude through all, meaning it's going to extrude through all the part. The next one is extrude through vertex. A vertex is a point. So if you have a point anywhere on your model, you can click the point. It's going to extrude it to that point. So up to surface is the same thing. If you have a surface, if you click that surface, as you can see, it's extruding to that surface. And offset from surface will be the same thing. You'll be extruding to that surface, but then it's going to be an offset from this surface. So let's say if this would say this extrude to this surface and is an offset from that surface, and I can increase my diameter and increase or decrease my diameter. And the next one is up to body, meaning if you have a body, it wouldn't work in this particular model we're working on, but if you have another body, you can extrude up to it. And the last one is the mid plane. That's the one we are going to be using. So the mid plane, what the mid plane does is it extrudes it in both directions. So we want to extrude our model in the mid plane, and our dimension is 90 degrees. Not 90 degrees, sorry, 90 millimeters. I'm sorry, I don't know what's wrong. 90 millimeters. So we want to extrude it 90 millimeters and click OK. So now you should have something like that. So next, what you want to do is click on the top plane and again click sketch, and you want to go normal 2. And now we want to draw a circle from the origin point out. Dimension that circle 38. Good. So now you want to click on your center rectangle and click the origin point again, drag it out, something like that. So you want to dimension this 23. and you want to dimension this line 66. Good. So you should have something like that. So the next thing you want to do is trim this off. So we're going to go to our trim tool, and I'm using closest trim tool. Let's trim tool. I'm using the closest trim to closest, and I want to trim this off, right? I want to trim that. I want to trim this, and I want to trim that. So you have something like that. Good. So the next thing you need to do is add our radius to it. So we're gonna click on the fillet, and we want to add a radius of 8. The first radius is an 8, so we add an 8 to the corners. So you just click on the point, or you can click on the 2 lines. So click on the point or the 2 lines. We click OK. So the next one, we want to add a radius of a 15. So we change this number to 15, and we want to click this point, this point, this point, and this point, and we want to click OK. So our sketch is fully defined. It says fully defined over here. Let's click OK one more time. Our sketch is fully defined all around. So now we can move this so we see what we're working with, something like that. Then we want to go back to feature, extrude. This time we want to do blind. Blind is, you can pick blind, then you enter the dimensions do you want to extrude it to, the length. So in this one, we want to extrude it 37.5. So you should have something like that, 37.5. And you always want to make sure merge is checked, because look, if I uncheck merge and I extrude it and I click OK, now I have 2 different models. As you can see, this, my new extrude is separate from this model we've been working on. So let's go back into that feature by right clicking on it and click edit feature. And now when I click the merge, it merges this extrude with this body, so everything is one solid piece. And we click OK, and now we should have something like that. Good. And the next thing we need to do is click on this face, this up face, and create a sketch on it. And we'll click normal too, so we are facing it. Now we want to draw another circle out, and let's make this circle 72. The dimension, the smart dimension 72. And good, everything should be fully defined. And now we want to extrude it blind. It's pointing down. Now we want to switch the direction down, and now we want to extrude it 12 millimeters. So you should have something like that. Make sure your merge is checked. The draft is just if you want to add an angle to it. Why, as you see when I click on the draft, I'm adding a 16-degree angle, and if I check this, the angle will be going out, and if I uncheck it, it's going in. So that's what the draft is. But we don't need a draft for this, so we're just gonna click 0 just to leave it like that, and we are extruding it down 12, and let's click OK. So good, you're doing pretty good. So we have something like this. And the last extrude we are going to be doing in this lesson is, let's click on the right plane and click sketch and go normal to. Let's draw a center rectangle again, something like that. Now let's add the smart dimension to fully define it. Let's make that 33, and let's make this 22. Good. So let's add a fillet to it as well. We add fillet. We change the radius to 3. We click on, make sure it's selected 3. Click on that corner, click on that corner, click that point, and let's click OK. So now we have our sketch is fully defined. So what we need to do is extrude our feature. We close this the sketch, extrude, and now we want to do blind, and we want to extrude it 19.5, so you get something like that. And make sure your merge is checked and click OK. So now you have almost half of the valve done. Good job. And that is how you use the extrude feature. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next lecture. Bye. Hello, welcome to another lesson. In this lecture, we are going to be talking about the convert entity feature and how to share a sketch. This lesson doesn't fall under the valve project we are currently working on, but I just want to show you this as a side note. So the first one we are going to talk about is how to share a sketch. So let's say sharing a sketch is pretty simple. So I have this feature has a sketch. So let's say I want to draw another feature out. I want to extrude this cylinder out. Instead of drawing another sketch, and all I can do is, if I click on this sketch, you can see the sketch for this cylinder is on that face. Just in case if I want to draw and extrude this cylinder, another cylinder coming out this way, what I can do is just click on the extrude feature, and it's going to ask me to select, either draw a sketch or select a sketch. So what I'm going to do is select the sketch for that plane, and now I can reverse it and I can add it. I want to extrude it too, and now we have used that sketch to draw, and we have used that sketch to extrude it. And if I click on this feature and go down on this feature, you'll see this little ant symbol, and that is telling you that that sketch is being shared by these two features. They are the same sketch. So that is pretty much how you share a sketch. You click your feature and select the sketch you have already, and just use that sketch to draw your feature. So the next one we are going to talk about is the convert entity feature. So let me click on this face, and if I draw a sketch on it. So now I want to draw this cylinder on this edge as well. So instead of drawing another sketch and adding a dimension to it, I can use this cylinder that pre-exists already by clicking this edge and selecting convert entity. And what SolidWorks does is SolidWorks will make a sketch of it on that face on that face where I'm in the sketch mode. And all we need to do now is just extrude it. We'll extrude it too. And that is how the convert entity works. So with the convert entity, you can select the edge or a face of any feature, and SolidWorks will convert that face into a sketch for you, and you can use that sketch. And to share a sketch, all you do is click on the feature and click on your sketch. You already have a pre-existing sketch, and you can use that to draw a feature. And I just want to show you this before we proceed. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next lecture. Bye. Hello, welcome back to another lesson. In this lesson, we are going to be learning the mirror feature. So like I said, I'm just trying to teach you all the feature while we're actually building something, so that way you learn as you go. And please feel free to let me know if you actually like this method of teaching, because this class I can always upload more examples for you. So please feel free to let me know if you like this method, or if you would like me to go into details about a specific topic or feature. So, and also make sure you are saving your work as we go. So anyway, let's get into it. So now we should have something like this. So the next thing we need to do is we want to mirror this feature to this side, so the same thing is on this side. So to do it, we need anytime you want to mirror, you need a plane to mirror about. Remember when we did the sketch, you need a center line to mirror about. When you are mirroring feature, you need a plane. So the plane is just like your center line. So since this part is on this side and we're trying to mirror it to this side, so we're gonna find the plane. In this case, that will be our right plane that we're going to be mirroring about. So we would select the mirror and it's asking what plane. We select the right plane, and the features to mirror, we'll select that, and there you go. And on the mirror, let's just edit that mirror. So I'll right click on that mirror, click edit. Another type of mirror is you have faces, so which means you can click on the face, or in some cases you will have the body where you can click on a body. And that is pretty much how the mirror works. You pick your plane and pick the feature you want to mirror. You can either pick it from here or you can pick it from here under this drop down menu. Thank you, and let me close it so you see what it looks like. So we have our mirror, and make sure you save your work. Thank you, and I will see you in the next lecture. Bye. Hello, welcome back. So in this lesson, we are going to be adding fillets and chamfer to our valve body. It's going to be the same as the fillet and chamfer in the sketch that we covered previously. So let's go. So to start, let's click our fillet tool. So you have all this different type of fillet here. So this is a variable size fillet. This is a face fillet, which is like you select two faces, and this is a round fillet, which makes, I mean, it doesn't apply in this part, but maybe I'll make another example where this applies. So it makes a fillet, round fillet between this face and that face. But for this example, we are going to be using the constant size fillet, and you'll find that you will be using this fillet majority of the time. So to start, we'll select that, and we'll select our fillet size. For the first one, we want a 3 inches fillet, 3 millimeters. I don't know why I keep saying inches. So 3 millimeter fillet, and we want to apply it to that face, and we want to click OK. So let's select the fillet again. While we're still on 3, let's select that face, this edge, that edge, this edge, and that edge. And I actually have the tangent propagation. That is why the fillet is going around. So in case if yours isn't going around, you want to check that, or you can click all the edge up there to have your fillet going around. And this is what you want to select. You want to select those two and click OK. So you should have something like that. So the next one we will be selecting is the fillet also, and now we want to select this edge and below it, and we want to do the same thing on this side. Select that edge and below it, so you have something like that. And the reason why I'm selecting all this fillet one by one is because if you try to select everything at once, it wouldn't work. So you have to select it one by one just to add them in. So the fourth one, we are going to add another fillet, and we are going to add a fillet to this edge, and that fillet will be 1. Let's click this edge, and let's click this edge, and let's select OK. So you should have something like that. And the next fillet we are going to add is a 5, and let's select this edge and click OK. And the last fillet we are going to add is a 3, and let's select this edge and that edge and click OK. So that is how you add a fillet to your model, and as you can see, everything is coming together and it looks pretty good. So the next one we need to do is add a chamfer. So on the drop down, click chamfer. The chamfer works the same way as the sketch. You can either select angle, distance, or distance, distance. So for this one, we're going to be doing the angle distance. So we have a distance of 45 and our angle is going to be 2.5. 2.5 distance, our angle is 45, excuse me. And we're going to select that edge and that edge. Click OK. So you have something like that. And the next one is we're going to select another chamfer, and our distance for this one is going to be 0.5 millimeter and 45, and we want to select this edge and click OK. And everything is looking good and our valve body is coming together. Make sure you save your work. Thank you, and I will see you in the next lecture. Bye. Hello, welcome back. So in this lecture we are going to be learning about the extrude cut, which is like the opposite of the extrude. So to start, let's click the face, this face, and let's select sketch, and let's go normal to let's add a circle, center circle out, and let's make the diameter for that circle 40, and let's, once you have something like that, let's now go to feature and click extrude cut. The same option that is available for the extrude is also available for the extrude cut. The extrude is always adding material, and the extrude cut is always cutting out material. That's a way to think about it. So for this, we're gonna click blind, and we're going to make that dimension 4.8, and we click OK. So you should have something like that. So now we're gonna come back, click this face, sketch, normal to, let's add another circle. Let's make this circle 26, and let's extrude it. Go back to your feature, extrude cut, sorry, extrude cut 27.2, and you click OK. And another way to see what you're doing is you can click on the section, and if you click section about the right plane, okay, so that way you can see what you do. So in fact, you can section it. I want you to section it, and once you section it, click on this face again and go to your sketch tab, click sketch, normal to. Now we want to add our last sketch, add a circle here and make that circle 20.51 and click OK. So it should look something like that. And now go back to your feature, extrude cut, and then you want to make that a 22. So and click OK. So there you go. You should have something like that. So that's a good way to see what you're doing. And while our section is still open, we'll do the same thing on this side. So now we want to click on this face, click sketch. You can go normal to, add your circle, and we want to make that circle 22, and we want to extrude it 12. So extrude cut 12. So 12 and click OK. There you go. And now one more, we're gonna click this face again. We're going to sketch, normal 2, and we are going to make that 18. Should look something like that. And we're going to do extrude cut, and this one will be 10, and let's click OK. So you should have something like that when you're done. So now what we need to do is something we just learned in the previous lecture. Let's do it again in this one. So now we want to, I want you to mirror this face, these two features, not the face, these two features to this side. So I'll give you 3 seconds. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so to mirror this face over, you need a plane. So we'll click on the right plane. We'll find the plane, which is the front plane. Then since we know it's the front plane, we can now click on our mirror. On this drop down, we want to select the front plane. Features to mirror, we want to mirror this face, this feature, and that feature. So those two features are in here. We click OK, and now there you go, our features has been mirrored, and we can, that is what it looks like, and we can turn off our section, and that is what it looks like now. Thank you, and I will see you in the next lecture. Please make sure that you save your works. Please save it. Thank you, and I'll see you. Bye. Hello, welcome back. So in this lesson, we are going to be covering the revolve cut feature. So to start, let's click on our right plane and make sure it looks something like this, where your right plane is on this side. And once you have that, let's click sketch, and now let's click section. So you have that view, something like that. Click OK, and now let's draw a line going up, something like this, and click that line and make it a construction line. And now let's draw another line going at an angle, something like that. Good. So now add a smart dimension between these two, this line and that line, and make it 45. Good. So once you have something like that, drag the point of this line up and make it coincident with that face. You can drag it, or click the end point and click that face, holding the control key, and add a coincident relation to it. Good. So once you have that, you want to add another dimension from this line to that point. So you want from this line, from this line to that point, and let's make that 17.5. So you have something like that. So now let's add another line to it, something like this, coming down and coming down. So you click this line, click that line, holding the control key, and adding a perpendicular relation to it. And you want to do the same thing down here. Click this line, click that line, add a perpendicular relation to it. Something is still out of whack, so let me back out. Let's add a perpendicular relation from this line to that line. And okay, so make sure you add a perpendicular relation between this line and that line, and this line and this line. Then you want to do the same thing down here too, perpendicular, so that way nothing breaks, so everything looks good now. And perpendicular, so you have something like that. So now let's add another dimension to this line, and that will be 62. And let's add another dimension up here, and that will be 6. So by the time you are done, you should have something like this. So now what we want to do is revolve it. So we'll go to like feature, revolve cut, and we want to revolve it about this line. And it's the same, the revolve option is the same as your revolve. The revolve cut is the same as your revolve, so you click OK. So you have something like that. Good. So now we're going to do the same thing on this side. So let's click on the right plane again, and let's click sketch, add a line from here up, click on that line, make it a construction line, then add another line that is coincident with this edge pointing down, and add a dimension between those two lines and make it a 75, and add another dimension between this point and the origin point, make that a 9. So now let's add another line to make it a rectangle, and we are going to add our perpendicular relation. So I have an extra line there, I'm going to delete it. So now let's click on those two lines, perpendicular, click on these two lines, perpendicular, click on these two lines, perpendicular, and these two lines, and make them perpendicular. So once you have something like that, let's add the dimension here, make it 6, and let's add our last dimension to fully define it. This time we're gonna add it from here to here, and let's make it 43. So we have something like that. So we have a 75 angle, 43, 6, and 9. So again, we want to go to our feature, revolve cut, and this time now we want to revolve it about this line. So you have something like that, and we're gonna click OK. 360 cut, OK. So now we have our revolve cut, and that is pretty much how you do a revolve cut in SolidWorks. And we are almost done with this valve body. Good job, and thank you. I will see you in the next lecture. Bye. Hello, welcome back. So in this lesson we are going to be covering the circular pattern, and to start, first we need to draw a hole on this face. So let's click on this face and click on sketch, and let's do normal 2, and now let's draw a line from here somewhere up there, something like that. Make the line coincident. It doesn't really matter, but I always like constraining everything, so make it coincident. Make sure the line is vertical, as a vertical relation. So now click on the line, let's make it a construction line. Let's draw a circle from the center out, and let's make that circle 56 diameter, something like that. Make that also a construction. Let's draw another circle, and this time make sure the circle is coincident with this circle, something like that, and make the diameter of that circle 9.53. So now let's draw a line from here, from that point to the origin point. Make that line also construction line. Now you see why we use construction line. Sometimes you don't need the construction line to make the feature. You just need the construction line to place your sketch where it needs to be. So now let's add a dimension between this line and this angle, and that will be 45. So as you can see, now our sketch is fully defined. So now let's just extrude cut, and this time let's do through up to next. So when you do up to next, it only extrude it to the next, and click OK. So now we have our both holes. So what we want to do now is circular pattern that hole, so we don't have to do it 4 times. So let's go down, circular pattern. Now in the features, you have to select the diameter that you want to pattern this circle around. So your perimeter is, which is up here, you want to select a circular edge. For a circular pattern, you always want to select any circular edge. So I can select this edge, I can select that edge, I can select that edge, I can select that edge. It doesn't matter, any circular edge you want to select. So we'll select this edge, and that edge is there. Features that I want to pattern, I select this hole. I want equal spacing, and I want 4 holes, so which is something like that, and I will click OK. And that is how you do circular feature pattern in SolidWorks. Let me zoom in so you see it. And we are pretty much we are done with this valve. We just need to add one more thing and we pretty much be done with it. So let's click the drop down, chamfer, and let's make it 1 distance and 45, and we want to add it to this edge and that edge. So and we click OK. So let me section it so you see which edge we added it to. I'm going to zoom it this way, normal to I'll click the right plane, normal to the right plane, normal to again. So now you see we added the chamfer to this edge and this edge. Anyway, this valve is done. We are done with the body. Congratulations, you just designed your first model in SolidWorks. Thank you, and I will see you in the next lecture. Bye. Make sure you save your work too. Bye. Hello, welcome back. So in this lesson we are going to be covering the linear pattern. We are done with that check valve project, but after this lecture we are going to continue building that assembly for the other part for that valves. But because the linear pattern doesn't really fall under that valve, so I'm just going to show you just a quick way to make linear pattern. So to start, let's just draw a sketch on any plane and click sketch, and make sure you are normal to let's draw a rectangle, something like that, and let's make it let's make it 7, and let's make it 5. Oh no, let's make it 3. So you have something like that. So now go to the feature and let's extrude it up 0.25, something like that. So now we have that. Now let's click on the face, the top face, and let's draw another sketch, and let's draw, make it normal to, and let's draw a sketch somewhere here, a circle, and let's add the dimension to it just to get in the habit of fully defining sketches. Let's make that 3, and let's add another dimension here, and let's make that 1, and let's add a dimension to the diameter of that. Let's make it 0.5. So we have something like that, and let's extrude cut it down. So we want to extrude cut it to next. So it's, and you click OK. So we have that now. So let's say we want to pattern this circle around this plate. So what we'll do is we'll click on the linear pattern. So for the linear pattern, the direction to pattern, you always want to select a edge of the feature. So we'll select that edge because we want to pattern it along that edge, and then we're gonna go to feature. To pattern, we want to pattern that hole, and right now my last setting was there, so let's say we want to pattern it 6 times, and for the dimension, the same thing as the sketch, let's add 5. 5 is too much, let's add 0.5, and let's see what that is, or 1. So we have 1 there, so let's just go with that. Oh sorry, let's just go with that. So we are going to pattern it. Let's see what 7 is. Okay, we are going to pattern it 7 times. The distance is 1 from each other, and now that is pretty much how you add it. So let's say I want to add another direction, so I can click this line for the direction 2, and how many do I want to pattern? I'm gonna do 3. The distance, let's do 0.5 or 1. There you go. So we now have another direction. The distance is 1 apart and 3 instance. So that is pretty much how you do the linear pattern. And that down here, so we can do instance to skip. So when we click instance to skip, we can actually click on the inside and skip whichever hole we want to skip. And when we are done with all that setting, we'll just click OK. And there you go, you have your circular pattern on the plate. Thank you, and I will see you in the next lecture. Bye. Hello, welcome to another lecture. So in this lecture, we are going to be modeling the spring for our valve project using the sweep bus. So to start, let's make sure our scale is in millimeter by going to the options, document, unit, millimeter, and OK. So let's select the front plane and start a sketch. So we want to draw a midpoint line starting at the origin point and making it vertical this way. So let's add it, make sure there's a vertical constraint on it, and let's add a diameter to it. I mean a line, a dimension to that line, which is 20.52. So it should have something like that. So now let's exit that sketch. So let's select in the front plane again. Let's add another sketch, and this time let's draw the circle somewhere down here. Let's click the point, center point of that circle and the end point of that line, and let's make it horizontal to each other. Let's add a dimension from the center point to the end point of that line is 8, and let's add a diameter to that circle, a dimension for the diameter, which is 1.35. So you should have something like that, and let's exit that sketch again. So now we'll go to the feature, sweep bus. We'll click on the sweep bus. So in order to use the sweep bus, you need 2 things. You need your profile and you need your path to sweep your profile around. So now we will select our profile, and the path we will select this part, and under the option we want to select profile twist. Let's do twist, specify twist value, and under the type of twist you want to select revolutions, and the revolution we want to revolve it around that line 8.5 times. So when we click enter, now our profile is being revolved around this line 8.5 times, and we'll click OK. So that is how the sweep revolve works. So the next thing we want to do is just trim the edge of those the edge of the edge of the spring. So we will select the front plane again and click sketch, and now you want to draw a rectangle somewhere down here, and let's make the center point of that rectangle and the origin point vertical to each other, so it's center. Let's select this face and let's convert the entity of that face, and make sure you change that to a construction line. So let's click this line and the center point of that sketch you converted, and let's make a coincident, so you have something like that. So now let's add a a dimension, make that 2, and let's make this 25. So we have something like that. So now let's go back to our feature, extrude cut. You want to select extrude all in both, extrude all in both, so it's extruding that in both directions, and we'll click OK. So now that is what we did. We just trimmed that flat edge, we trimmed that part off, because when we made it to our part, we want that part to sit on a flat part, and you'll see why we did this later on in the lecture. So the next thing we need to do is just mirror that feature up there to do the same thing for the top. So we'll select our mirror, and the plane, we want to mirror it about the top plane, as you can see, and the feature, we want to mirror this, and we want to select OK. And now you can see that part is trimmed at the top, and that is pretty much the sweep feature. So make sure you save your work, save this spring, save this as a spring, and I will see you in the next project. Thank you. And oh yes, before we go, another way the sweep feature works is, let me just open a new part. Another way to do the sweep feature is you can start a sketch, and let's say I draw a spline, something like this, right? And I can now exit that sketch again. Now I need to draw my profile, so I can draw another sketch over here, which is a circle, something like that. So now I have my profile and my part. So go back into the feature, sweep feature, and select my profile, select my part, and you get something like that, which is another way to use the sweep feature. And another way to use it is, let me click on the front plane again, I select sketch, and let me draw another sweep, another spline over here. We have something like that. We can exit it. And now when we go into the sweep feature, we don't have a profile to revolve, to sweep this around, but if you have SolidWorks 15 and up, you should have this circular profile here. So when you select we will select the circular profile and select that part, which is our sketch 3, and as you can see now it's adding it's assuming that it's like a diameter circle, and it's revolving it, sweeping it around that line, and we can change the diameter here, and let's make that 1 and click OK. And that is pretty much how you do your sweep in SolidWorks. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next lecture. Bye. Hello, welcome to another lecture. So in this lesson we are going to be learning the sweep cut tool while designing a bolt for our valve project. So to start, let's open the asset file we have for this lecture, which is the bolt, and browse to wherever you saved it on your computer, or download it and open it. So now you have this bolt. So for this bolt, what we want to do is cut the threads on this bolt, and also cut like the chamfer on the top. So to start, let's create, and the sweep cut tool also works just like the sweep. You always need a part and a profile. So we'll create our part by selecting this top face and adding a sketch to it. So we're gonna add a circle, go normal to and draw a circle, and select that circle, select the edge and make it tangent to. So once you have something like that, close the sketch, and now let's select the right plane and let's press normal to, so you have something like that, and click sketch. So now let's draw a triangle, something like this and something like that. So once we have that, let's add our dimension from this line to this line. Let's make the angle 30. Let's make this 2, and now just looking from the top, let's click this point and click that line, and let's add a pierce relationship to it so it has something like that, and click OK. So when you're done, you should have this, and exit out. So what we are going to do now is select the sweep cut, and we want to select our profile and the part, and we want to select that diameter and click OK. And now we have the sweep around the edge just to cut that bolt. So that's what it looks like. So the next thing we want to do now is cut the thread on this bolt. So let's select this face and let's draw a circle, and let's go normal to and draw a circle out. So now click this circle and click that edge, and make sure those two are co-radial, something like that. So that means the edge, the diameter of this circle and the edge is the same diameter. And let's exit out of that. So now with that sketch selected, let's go to your surface tab. Make sure you have your surface tab open, or it doesn't even matter. Let's go to the feature tab, sorry. And we want to select this drop down on the curve, and we want to select helix. So we have something like that. We want to make sure that the pitch and revolution is selected. You want custom pitch, and your pitch is going to be 1.5875. And when we zoom in, that's what it looks like. And your revolution is going to be 11.5. And your start angle is going to be 180. And once you have all those input, you click OK. So now we have this helix over here. So the next thing we need to do is click on the right plane again and go to your sketch tab, select sketch, and let's go normal to the right plane, and let's it doesn't matter, your helix can be, make sure your helix endpoint is pointing on this side, or it doesn't matter where, if you have it on the opposite side, just make sure you are drawing. I'll show you what we mean. So we're on that sketch, so let's draw a line, something like this, down, something coming down, up and down. So let's draw a line selecting the midpoint of that line and the midpoint of this line, and let's click on this line, make it horizontal, so you have something like that. And let's make that middle line a construction line. So the diameter for this, the dimension for this line is 0.41. The dimension from this two line is 0.85, and let's add the angle between those two lines, which is 60. So by the time you are done, you should have something like this. And now let's click this point and that helix, and let's add a pierce to it. No, let's click this point, not this point, this point, and the helix, and let's add a pierce to it. So you should have something like that, and your sketch is gonna be fully defined. So once you have that, click close, and now we have our profile and we have our part. And let's just exit out of the sketch. So we have our profile, we have our part. So the next thing we're going to do is go into the feature, sweep to sweep cut. For our profile, we are going to select the sketch, and for our part we are going to select the helix, and we should have something like that, and we click OK, and there you go. And so we can just right click on the helix and click this eye to hide it, and we are going to cover that later. So we have our sketch cut, our thread cut, which looks really good. And the last thing we need to do is just trim this edge. So select this face and click sketch and select convert entity. So now you have your sketch for that face, and just go into the feature tab and press extrude cut, and you want to select extrude all. So you have something like that, and you click OK. So now you have your bolts. You've done your sweep cut up here, and you've done your sweep cut down here, and the bolt is complete. Please save it in your project file for the valve, and we are going to be moving on to the next part. Thank you, and I will see you in the next lecture. Bye. Hello, welcome back. So for this lecture, all I want you to do is download this disc and this, and there's also one more, and this gasket. Download those two parts. I have included them in the resource for this lecture. Download them and save it under your valve project folder. So that should complete all the parts we need for that valve, and we are going to be working with it again when we get to the assembly, but I just want you to have all the parts for now. And in total, you should have a total of 7 parts. You should have the body, the bolts, the body, the cover, the disc, the gasket, the seat, and the spring. And once you have all those parts, make sure you have them saved in your valve project folder. And if you don't have any of those parts, look in the lectures we've covered. In some of those lectures, I've included them in the resources. And if you have any question, please feel free to ask, and I will definitely get back to you. Thank you, and I will see you in the next lecture. Bye. Hello, welcome back to another lecture. So in this lesson, we are actually starting a new project, and the part we are going to be designing in this project is a nail polish. So make sure you make a new folder called nail polish where you are going to be saving your file. So to start, and we are going to be designing this nail polish actually using the loft tool. So to start, let's draw a sketch on the top plane. So we click the top plane, and this drawing is going to be, this part is going to be designed in the inch scale. So draw a sketch on the top plane, and we'll select the ellipse tool, draw something like that. We'll click this point and hold the control key and click that point and make sure they are horizontal to each other. Then we want to add a smart dimension. From this point to that point is 1, and from this point to this point is 0.75. Good. So we're going to exit out of that sketch. So now we need to draw another plane up that we are going to loft this sketch into. So we're going to go into the feature, reference geometry plane, and it's asking for our reference plane. We're going to select the top plane. So as you can see, the top plane is our reference, our first reference, and is the dimension is 1.5 up. That's what we want, and we click OK. So now on that plane 1, we want to draw a sketch, and let's click normal 2. So we want to draw another ellipse. something like that, and we want to make sure this point and that point are horizontal to each other. And let's zoom in, and we want to add a dimension to this point, from this point to this point, and it's going to be 1.5, and from this point to that point it's going to be 1. And now we're going to exit that sketch, and I'm just going to right click on this plane and click the eye to turn it off. So now we have that sketch and that sketch. So the next thing, now how the loft tool works is, if I select the loft tool, I can click this sketch and click that sketch, and I'm pretty much lofting this sketch into that sketch. But this lofting, making it loft this way, is not the best way, because now the edge of those sketch are not controlled the way we want it to control, especially this edge. Let's say if I want a curve, I want this edge to curve. SolidWorks is not really doing that, because it's just lofting this edge into that edge, and this line is parallel, I mean is just a linear line. So what we need to do is we need to create a guide curve, something that curves, that we will tell, okay, when we loft this sketch into that sketch, we want it to curve that way. So we're going to draw another sketch on the front plane, and let's click sketch, and we'll go normal to. So we're just going to draw 2 arcs, I mean not 2 arcs, a 2-point arc, and we're going to click this point, click this line, and select pierce, and we are going to do the same thing over here. Click this point, click this line, and select pierce, and we're going to go normal to and add a smart dimension to this arc, and it is going to be 5. So we have something like that. Good. So now we are going to do the same thing on this side. Again, select the front plane, sketch, and we draw 2-point arc. Select this point, select that point, click out. Now select this point, hold the control key, select that ellipse, pierce, and we're going to do the same thing at the bottom. Pierce, normal to, and we are going to add a dimension to this, which is also 5. So now this is what our profile looks like. So now we can actually start our loft. We go back into the loft tool. We want to loft this sketch into that sketch. Then we want to select the guide curve, and we want it to curve around this edge. Now you can see it curving around that edge as opposed to on this side when it's going straight. And we are going to select that guide curve again too. So now we have something like that, and we are going to click OK. And that is how you use the loft tool, and everything is looking good. Another way you can actually do the loft tool is, let's select this face and click sketch, and while that face is still selected, let's click the convert entity to make a sketch of that face. We'll go normal to, and let's draw a line from this point to this point, and now let's trim half of that line off, so we have just half of that line. Good. So we exit out of that sketch. We're gonna exit out. So now we are going to draw another sketch on the front plane, and click sketch, and we are going to draw a 2-point arc from touching from this point to that point, and something going up like that. Then we are going to draw a line just to close those 2 arcs, I mean to close the arc. Then we are going to add a dimension to this, and it is going to be 2. So you should have something like that, and close it. So if I hide this feature, so this is what we have so far. This is our first sketch on that face, and this is our second sketch. So now, just like the first one, we also need a guide curve for this. So we are going to click on the right plane and draw a sketch. And all we want to do is draw a arc, just like the first one we did. We are going to click this point and click that sketch and pierce it. Click this point and click that arc and pierce it. And the dimension for this is 1.5. Good. So we have something, we have that, which is good. So now this is another way you can loft. So we are going to loft sketch 5 into 6, and sketch 7 will be our guide curve. So we're going to the loft feature, and we are going to select loft, and we want to loft sketch 5 into 6 into sketch 6, and select the guide curve, and sketch 7 will be the guide curve, and we click OK. So now we want to mirror this over. So select the mirror tool and select the front plane, and the feature we want to mirror is the second loft, and click OK. So that is pretty much how you do the loft tool, and everything is looking good. So just to finish this off, we are done with the loft tool. So just to continue modeling this part, let's add a fillet to this edge, and the fillet will be 0.1, and click OK. And on this bottom face, let's draw another sketch, and normal tool, let's draw a circle, and the circle is going to be 0.5, and let's just extrude it up. Feature extrude in the other direction, and the extrude is going to be 1.75. On that face again, let's draw another sketch, and we are going to draw another circle, and this circle is going to be 0.65, and we are going to extrude that circle up as well. So extrude, and in the other direction, and we are going to extrude it. And let me show you another thing you can do, because we might run into issue over here when we start filleting this edge. So what we want to do is we can offset this extrude by 0.3 in the other direction. And as you can see by the preview, I'm raising this sketch up a little bit, and I'm starting my extrude from that point. Then I want to extrude it 1.1, and click OK. And we have the first part of our nail polish almost done. Thank you, and I will see you in the next lecture. Bye. Make sure you save your work, and make sure you save this bottle, because we are going to be continuing with it in the next lecture. So please save it as anything you want, but I will save mine as nail polish. Thank you, and I will see you in the next lecture. Bye. Hello, welcome back. In this lesson, we are going to continue designing our nail polish body by adding a shell to it. So what a shell does is a shell makes this nail polish hollow, because right now if we section it, it is a solid part. So we want to add our hollow part into it. So to start, let's click on the shell, and the shell tool is very simple. So what the shell is going to ask you, the first thing is you want to select a face to remove. So for this one, I want to remove this face and shell everything else. So I'll show you if you don't select this face, what will happen. So if I don't select this face and I just and I click OK, and I use, as you can see, SolidWorks has had the shell, but you didn't notice anything change. Why? Because if I section it, now you see that it's hollow and SolidWorks just had the shell around it. So that is why you always want to select the face. So in this case, we want to select the face. So I'll click back on that shell too, and now I'm just going to edit it, and now I want to select that face, and that face is showing there. And when I click OK, and I went to shell it 0.05, and when I click OK, now our bottle has been properly shelled. So that is pretty much how you use the shell tool. And to do a couple of things to this part, let's add another fillet down here, which is 0.1, and let's add another fillet up here, which is 0.03, and we're gonna click that edge as well and click OK. So that is pretty much how you use the shell tool. Thank you, and I will see you in the next lecture. Bye. Hello, welcome back. So in this lesson, I want us to finish designing this nail polish body before we proceed. So to start, the only thing we have to do is add a chamfer to this two edge. So click on the chamfer, and our chamfer will be 0.01, and we want to add it to this edge and that edge, and click OK. And the next thing we need to do is section it around the front plane. Click OK, and we want to add the fillet in here, and our fillet will be 0.25, and click OK. So it looks something like that. So the next thing we need to do is offset this face, and the reason why let's just do it, and I'll explain it later. And go into the surface tab, and if you can see the surface tab, right click on anywhere around here and you should see the surface. Make sure that's checked, and in the surface tab, select offset surface, and select this face, that face, this face, that face, this face. You pretty much want to select all the face on the inside, and that face and that face. The distance will be 0.001. So once we have something like that, and we'll click OK. We still have more to select, so I would close that section and let me just hide that. And as you can see, this part, this face, we still need to select this face. So what I would do is show my part again, and I will section it, this time going in the opposite direction, and click OK. So now I will edit this offset surface, and I want to select that face and that face, and click OK. Let me see if everything worked. I'll hide that, hide this, and the only thing that's left to select is this edge over here. So I will show my feature again. I will section it and edit this offset, and I want to select that one and click OK, and hide that again. And when everything is selected, so you should have something like this on the inside. And I will show my feature back again, So the reason why we did this offset is when we start getting into our rendering, this offset would act as the paint on the inside of the bottle. So since this is a nail polish, the offset will act as the paint on the inside. So we'll paint that, and everything will be clear as we move forward. So make sure you save your part, and I will see you in the next lecture. Thank you. Bye. Hello, welcome back. So in this lesson, we are going to be talking about the loft cut tool. So the loft cut works just like the loft, except you are using it to cut a hole into a part. So let's say I have this cylinder and I want to loft cut something in it. So I can select on this plane and I will just draw an example. So on this top plane, we have something like a circle, and let's make our circle 3, and we're going to exit. And just like the loft, we're gonna create another sketch on the bottom, sketch, and normal 2, and let's make that a rectangle, something like that. And let's dimension that rectangle, and we make it 5, not 5, we make it 3.5 and 3.5. So we have those two profiles. So now I want to cut that profile into this box. So what I need to do is go into feature, loft cut. That sketch is already selected, and I will select this sketch, and if you have a guide curve, you will create a guide curve as well. But for this one, we don't have a guide curve. We click OK, and now if you look at it, that loft cut has been done into that profile has been cut into our box. So I can section it about the right plane, and you can see that that part has been cut in it. Anyway, that is how the loft cut works. It works the same way as the loft tool. Thank you, and I will see you in the next lecture. Bye. Hello, welcome to another lecture. So in this lesson, we are going to be talking about the hole wizard. So how the hole wizard works is you have two options. The first one is a cosmetic, and the second one shows you the detail of the thread. So let's select the hole wizard, and you get this option. The first thing you need to do is go under the position, and you will select the face where the hole is going to be. You're going to start your hole from. So I'm starting it from this face. I'll select that face. Now it's telling me to place my hole. I'll place my hole on this face, anywhere on this face. Once you place it, then you can add your dimension, something like that, and let's make that 2. So you can add your dimension, and I can also add another dimension from here to this edge to fully constrain it. I'll make that 3. So let's say that's where I want the hole. I'll add my dimension to it. Then the next thing, I'll go into the type tab. Then you will select the type of hole you want. So let's select this taper, and you select the type. They have the different type of holes over here. I'll select the inch, and I'll just select the size, which is 1. And based on what size you select, so SolidWorks will actually give you the right dimensions for it. And you can also change it to whatever you want, the values you want here. And once you're done, you can select the cosmetic option, which is just gonna give you like a representation of the thread. Is not going to cut the actual thread, and you click OK. And that is how you cut a hole into a part. And if I section it, you can see that hole has been cut in there, and we can edit the hole. And this is these are the option. This is the option for the thread, and this is, you can select through all, and as you can see, that hole is cutting through all. And if I click OK, and you have that. And that is pretty much how you cut a hole in the part, into any part. And another option we have is the thread one. So we'll select that, click OK. And with this one, you have to have a cylinder cut. So, but since I already have something on the bottom, I'll select that edge. I'll select that edge, and now you can see SolidWorks is cutting the hole in it. And what I need to do is just select, then you just select pretty much your revolution, all this, fill this out to your thread size, whatever thread you want. And I'll select that one. And the next thing we need to do is since we are cutting it, we'll select this cut option and click OK. And now, as you can see, SolidWorks actually cut the thread in it, as opposed to what we have on this side. So anyway, that is how the thread and the whole wizard works. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next lecture. Bye. Hello, welcome to another lecture. In this lecture, we are going to be covering the draft tool. And how the draft tool works is very simple. So if you select the draft tool, the first thing SolidWorks is going to ask you is you need to select the plane where you are going to be cutting that angle around. So you can either select the plane or a face. So for this example, we'll select this face as our draft plane, the neutral plane. Then the next thing, we need to select the face we want to draft. So we'll select this face, and we'll select the angle. Let's make it 25, and click apply. And as you can see, SolidWorks has added the draft angle 25 in that direction. If I want to draft it down, I'll flip this, and I'll flip that arrow in the reverse direction. Select the face, flip that arrow, and click apply. And as you can see, SolidWorks has drafted that angle. And I can do the same thing for the bottom. I'll make that 5, click apply, and the draft has been added. Or I can make it 10 and click that bottom face and click apply, and the draft has been added. So remember, anytime you want to add a draft, you select your neutral plane, then you select the face you want to draft, and you click the direction and add your angle. Thank you, and I will see you in the next lecture. Bye. Hello, welcome back to another lecture. So in this lesson, we are going to be making the cap for our nail polish, and we are also going to be learning the wrap tool. So to start, let's just click on the top plane, select sketch, and draw a circle. Make your circle, the diameter of your circle, 0.62. And this is inches, by the way, and extrude it 1.5. 1.25, sorry. 1.25. And click the draft, and you want to draft it. So the draft, add an angle to it, 0.25 inward, and you want to click OK. The next thing you want to do is select the bottom face, sketch, and draw another circle on that bottom face. And your circle will be, diameter is 0.5, and you want to extrude cut. So we go to feature, extrude cut, and we want to extrude cut at 0.35, and we'll click OK. So the next thing we want to do is add a fillet to this top, and the fillet should be 0.05 and click this edge and click OK. So the next thing we want to do now is add a wrap. Add a wrap to this face, and pretty much what the wrap tool does is it helps you scribe something, draw your name or anything as fast for like a logo on any face. You can also do features too. So in this case, we'll be adding our initials to the top of this face. So select that top face and click sketch and go normal to. So now I want you to add the first initial of your name. The first initial of my name is A. So I'm going to type A in there in a capital letter, and I'm going to uncheck that so I can increase the scale. So I can change that to 0.2. So the A is bigger. So I changed that to 0.2 by unchecking this and clicking font and typing 0.2 in there. You can also change the font type and all that in here. Click OK and click this check mark. So now once you have your A up there, you can move it anywhere around to place it wherever you want. And you can also use this point to dimension it. So I can add a dimension here. From that line to that line, I can do 0.12. And I can also add another dimension from that origin to that line. A dimension from the origin to that point. And 0.12, 0.15. No, I'll leave it 0.07 because I kind of like it where it is center. So now we have that A over there, and we can't really move it anywhere. So I like it where it is. So once you have your initial where you want it, so what we want to do is now exit out of that sketch, and you want to click on the wrap tool. So with the wrap tool, you want to select your sketch, which is here. My sketch was selected, so I'll click on the wrap tool again. It's asking me to select the sketch. I'll select the sketch right here. Now we want to select the face where we want to emboss this sketch on. I'll select that face. I would select my sketch again, select this, select my sketch, and make sure you select this, then select this face. So you first select your sketch on that source sketch and you select the face. The first type is emboss. Emboss is it extrudes this sketch out. So if I emboss it 0.01, and as you can see, it has extruded that letter out. And the second type is if I edit that, and if I select the boss 0.01, the boss works just like an extrude cut. It cuts the A into it. And the last type is scribe. If I select scribe, what scribe does is it just scribes that A on it. So for this, that is what we want to do. We just want to scribe the A on it. We don't want to emboss or deboss it. We just want to scribe it on it. So that is how the wrap tool works. Make sure you save this file. So save it under your project file and save it as a you can save it as a cap, nail polish cap, and we are going to be working with it when we get into the rendering. So please make sure you save it. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next lecture. Bye. Hello, welcome to another section. In this section, we are actually going to be covering how to edit parts in SolidWorks. So when you have your part and your part is fully made and you want to go back and edit it, this section is covering how to do that. And this lesson in particular will be covering how to edit your sketch. So now to edit any sketch, what you need to do is go under the feature and click the drop down to show this, to see the sketch. And once you see the sketch right under this feature, what you need to do is right click on it, and the first one with the pencil, with that looks like the pencil is drawing a line, you want to click on that, and now it takes you to the sketch mode. So now in this sketch mode, I can edit this sketch. I can change this to 0.5, and I can change that to 0.7, and I can change that to 2. And once I have everything done and my sketch is edited, I can just click done with sketch. Now you can see that part has also updated. So that is pretty much how you edit any sketch. You just go into your sketch feature, pull the drop down, and right click and select edit sketch. Anyway, thank you, and I will see you in the next lecture. Bye. Hello, welcome to another lecture. So in this lesson, we are going to be learning about how to show a sketch. So to show a sketch, what we need to do is go onto the feature and click on the drop down. And the next thing we need to do is, as you can see now, the sketch is there, and when I hover over it, it's showing it in the under the feature. So what we need to do is right click on it and click on this eye symbol that says show, and click on it. And now as we can see, the sketch is being shown in our feature. And we can use this in case sometimes we can use it to convert to another face, to use it in another feature. And you also know that the sketch is being shown because now, as you can see, the sketch is blue, as opposed to if I right click and hide it and the sketch is black. So that is how you show a sketch. So I right click on this one, show sketch, and that is how you show a sketch. Anyway, thank you, and I would see you in the next lecture. Bye. Hello, welcome back. So in this lesson, we are going to be covering how to edit a feature. So in the last lesson, we covered how to edit a sketch. So in this one, we are actually editing the feature itself. So this is my feature over here. So to edit a feature, it works the same way you edit a sketch. You right click on the feature itself, and now you get the option for edit feature, and you click on it, and now you are in the feature. So this feature was extrude by the mid plane 7.5. So now I can change that to 2 to extrude it to, and once I'm done with my editing, I click OK, and now as you can see, that feature has been edited to 2. So if I want to edit the fillets too, it's the same way. Right click, edit feature, and I can change the radius on that to 1.2 to 0.6. or 0.6 is too big, so I can't remember what it was before. Let me go back into it, edit that. It was 0.1, so I can change it to 0.125 to make it bigger, and I'll click OK, and as you can see, that radius is bigger now. And that is how you edit any feature in SolidWorks. And another way is you can right click on the feature itself and click edit feature. It'll still give you the same results. So if I right click on this, I can right click on the feature itself and click edit feature. Anyway, that is how you edit feature. Thank you, and I will see you in the next lecture. Bye. Hello, welcome back to another lecture. So in this lesson, we are going to be talking about how to suppress and unsuppress features in SolidWorks. So to start, the rule for suppressing and unsuppressing any feature is you have to understand that when you make it for your first feature, this second feature is depending on this first feature. So this first feature is kind of like the parent, and this second feature is like a child, because the way this was modeled, this is depending on that, and so on, and this fillet is depending on those two, and so on. So, and you can't just, so what I'm trying to say is you can't just suppress any feature if you want, because it's going to actually affect the rest of them. For example, if I suppress this parent, so how you suppress is just you right click on the feature and click suppress, which is this arrow pointing down. And as you can see, when I suppress that feature, it actually suppresses everything, because the rest of this feature are depending on that feature. So you can suppress that feature and still have those open. So, and what suppress means is, suppress means you are, it's almost as if you are deleting the part, but not really. You are hiding it from your screen, you are suppressing it, but the feature is still there. If you want to unsuppress it, you can unsuppress it, but it wouldn't be in use. So now I can right click on that feature again and click unsuppress, and now that feature is back on. But as you can see, the other three are still suppressed, so I can unsuppress those two. And if I suppress this second feature, as you can see, the fillets, the two fillets are suppressed, but this is not. That is because this is the parent, and this is standing by itself, and this is depending on that bus. But if I suppress this, it would only affect the features below it. So I'll just right click to unsuppress that, and the same thing goes for the fillet. If I suppress that fillet, it wouldn't affect anything because that fillet is independent. And if I suppress this fillet is also suppressed. This fillet is also independent. So the rule of thumb is you want to make sure when you are suppressing the child, not the parent, because if you suppress the parent, it's going to suppress everything. I hope I've been able to explain this as clear, and I hope it's clear to you. If you have any question, please feel free to send me a message and I would definitely clarify it for you. Thank you and have a nice day. Bye. Hello, welcome to another lecture. In this lesson, we are going to be talking about the feature rollback. So how the feature rollback works is, when you take this arrow and you hover over this blue line, you will see that the arrow changed to an and when you click that line and hold and pull it up, what it does is it suppresses that feature on the screen. And take a look at this fillet. Once I hover over it and that hand shows up, click and hold, pull it up, and that fillet is suppressed. And I'll do the same thing, and now that feature is suppressed, and I do the same thing and that feature is suppressed. So once you see the hand, click and pull down to show the feature. And you'll be using this feature mostly when, let's say, someone developed modeled a part and they gave the part to you, but you are trying to understand how that part was built. You will be using this feature to go one by one to see how that part was built. It's also helpful when, let's say, you have a part that is broken and you are trying to figure out where the problem is. You can roll it back to the beginning and start from fresh to start seeing what the problem is and fixing it. So this part is very useful. I use it a lot, and that is pretty much the rollback feature. And another way you can get it is you can right click on the feature, and it's also over here, rollback, and it's going to roll back on that one. Right click, roll back, right click, roll back. Anyway, that is the rollback feature. Thank you, and I will see you in the next lecture. Bye. Hello, welcome to another lecture. So in this lecture we are going to be learning about how to reorder the feature. So the reorder just means that you can rearrange how your feature was made, and in this case we because I'm using this model, there aren't that many features here to reorder, so I'm just going to give you the idea behind it. So the reorder also works the same way the suppressing the feature works, meaning that this is the parent and this is the child. When I try to go and reorder it, sometimes you can't reorder this because of the way this is modeled, so it's going to be it's not possible to reorder it, and I'm just going to show you. For example, these two fillets are independent. They aren't really depending on anything except for this feature and that feature. So I can move this fillet 1, fillet 2 on top of the fillet 1, or I can move the fillet 1 down, something like that. See? So all you do is click it, hold it, and move it until you see the arrow that says move below fillet 1, and there you go. Or you can move it below, so you can select that fillet 1, move below fillet 2, and that is how you reorder the fillet. Now watch if I try to move this fillet 2 above the extrude. Watch what happens. See, I can't do that. Or if I try to move that extrude boss below the fillet, I can't do that because that fillet is actually on that extrude, and that extrude is a parent to that fillet. And what happens if I try to move the extrude boss under the extrude boss 1 under the extrude boss 2? I can't do that again because the extrude boss 2 is depending on that extrude boss 1. So when you reorder your feature, what you need to keep in mind is if there is any feature that is depending on the feature above it, you wouldn't be able to move that feature below the child. So any feature you want to move has to be independent on its own before you can move it. And in this case of this part, the only two features we have here that are independent on their own is these two fillets, and I can move them any under or above each other as I please. So anyway, that is how the reorder feature works. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next lecture. Bye. Hello, welcome to another lecture. In this lecture we are going to be talking about how to evaluate a part. So evaluating a part is very simple, and all you do is go to the evaluate tab, and under this tab the only two features we are going to be focusing on for now is just the measure and the mass property. So the measure tool just works in a case where you are trying to find the distance or the dimensions for some part, and you use this a lot in the assembly when you are building assembly. And if I click on the measure and I click on that face, it gives me the diameter, it gives me the center, and it pretty much gives me every information I need to know. So let's select something else. If I select that, it gives me the area, the diameter, and the perimeter of that cylinder. And another thing is I can select this cylinder and that cylinder, and it gives me the center distance between those two cylinders. And there is a lot of stuff you can do. I can select that edge and that edge, and it gives me the distance, and the distance X, the distance Y, and the distance overall going up. And that is pretty much how the measure tool work. You can use it, you can click on a face and it gives you the area and the perimeter. You can click on a cylinder and it gives you the area, the diameter, and the perimeter. And you can click on any edge, and for example, I can also find the distance from this face to this face, and it tells me the distance is 0.75. So that is how the measure tool works. And thank you, and I will see you in the next lecture. Bye. Hello, welcome to another lecture. So in this lesson, we are going to be talking about the mask property tool. And the mask property is also just very simple. All you do is when you have your part open, just click on the mask property, and it gives you all the information you need to know about that part itself. It tells you the density, the mass, the volume, the surface area, the center of mass, and pretty much every information you need to know about this part would be displayed in the mask properties. And that is pretty much how it works. Thank you, and I will see you in the next lecture. Bye.